What's up, everybody? Just wanted to give a quick intro in this episode with my good friend and training partner, Jason Wei. Jason and I discuss a lot of stuff regarding the history of Judo and Jiu-Jitsu and his journey, of course, as usual. But I just wanted to point out that there are some inaccuracies in our discussion regarding the history of Judo that we talk about and some other details about Jiu-Jitsu and stuff. So please forgive us. We're just having a casual conversation, and there's things we don't know. So if you hear any inconsistencies, please feel free to educate us in the comments. I do read the comments, and I do appreciate all the comments all you guys have given me through these months, and I learned a lot from you guys, my fans, so thank you for that. Also, there's a pulling guard. At one point, Jason's describing a video by, I think it's Justin Does Jiu-Jitsu on YouTube. And then I correct him because he says that this guy pulls guard. And then I correct him and I say, oh, no, actually, I think the term is play guard. And then we went with that. And then I went and watched the video. And in the video, the guy describes it as pulling guard. So I thought pulling guard meant literally I grab your lapels and I pull you to the ground as I sit, or there's different versions of it. But now I'm starting to think that, and I thought that if you just sit and you say, all right, come get me, that's playing guard. But apparently in the video that I watched after this interview with Jason, the dude does uses pulling guard for all of that stuff. So obviously I need to get my terminology better, but again, I'm learning here, Jason's learning, so please just take it with a grain of salt. There's a learning process for both of us, and please enjoy the episode. Thank you. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Welcome Over 40. My guest today is another training partner of mine who I've known for a year and a half, maybe. And he is a multi-stripe white belt. How many exactly? He's about to tell us. And he's a three-stripe white belt. There we go. Thanks, Jason. And he is, let's see. Oh, he's our first. A lot of our fans have been writing into the podcast a lot saying, when are you going to get a judo guy on the podcast? And so I was happy that Jason agreed to do this because he's a judo guy as well. But not only is he our first guest who does judo, he's also our first guest who wears ear protection when he trains. And so he's going to tell us all about that as well. So welcome to the podcast, Jason Wei. How you doing today?
Hey, Connor, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So let's talk about the ear guards. What's the deal with
Sure.
the ear protection? Why do you wear those things? I assume, in fact, I think I remember you telling me that your lady friend, wife, girlfriend,
Yeah, my wife.
your wife made it clear to you that she did not want you to get cauliflower ear, and that's why you wear them. Is that correct?
That's the main reason, yes.
Okay.
When I first started jiu-jitsu and I will watch videos online, well when I became familiar with the community in general, I learned, as we all do, that cauliflower ear is quite common as you progress through
It's
the
a thing.
years. And one day I was talking about it with my wife. I was saying, "Hey, look at all these guys. It looks so badass with the cauliflower ear."
And she
And
didn't
she
agree.
takes no, yeah, she took one look. She said, "If you get that, oh boy, no." So
Right.
therefore, yeah, I tried out a couple of ear protectors, and my current one, the Cliff Keen, a common wrestling, a common ear guard worn by wrestlers. I found that to be quite agreeable with my head. I have a big head, so yeah,
Is that right? Okay.
that's
And
why we're
does it get in the way at all when you roll?
not that I can tell, not at all. My main concern is that it would bother my training partners, like it would
Hmm.
interfere with a submission or something like that.
Well, since I
But
don't really submit many people, especially you, I don't really have to worry about that kind of thing.
oh no. But I was very active in asking my training partners, "Hey, is the ear guard in the way?" They're like, "No,
Okay.
no, we don't even notice this." I'm like, "Okay, that's good." If anything, the only interference it does is it makes it a bit harder for me to slip out of chokes because it's
Oh,
just a little bit increase in the diameter of my head. But
right.
aside
And
from
and
that,
the, and the friction and whatnot. So that's actually maybe that's kind of good for you. It forces you to kind of
yeah,
train
yeah,
a little bit harder, to work a little
yeah,
harder, to
yeah,
get out
yeah,
of
yeah.
submissions and stuff. So
hmm
I see. Do you wear it in judo as well?
No, not in judo. It's cauliflower. While it is present in judo, it's nowhere near as prevalent
Okay.
or prevalent. I don't know how you pronounce that word, but
I think it's prevalent, but you're
prevalent. Okay.
yeah, I think so. It's not as prevalent in judo. Okay, but some
Nah.
people do wear it in judo.
Some people still do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so speaking of that, what is your story, man? What's the deal? I only learned you did judo until I didn't learn until I saw some Instagram thing of you recently with
Mm.
a promotion,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
won't
yeah.
lie, I saw you do a throw when we were doing King of the Hill takedowns like a month or so ago, and it was scary, and I was like, oh my
Uh,
freaking oh, so that's what's going on with Jason. Okay, I got to really watch my stand up with him. So where did it all start? Did it start with judo, or did you do other martial arts before that?
it started with Taekwondo.
Oh, okay.
Started
When
with
you were a
Taekwondo.
kid, and sorry, I always do a little bio because a lot of my fans have been writing in saying we want to know more about who your people are, and
Uh-huh.
like who they are outside the gym and whatnot. So, were you a
Yeah,
kid,
yeah,
and where'd you
yeah.
grow up, and were you a kid when you started Taekwondo and
Sure.
stuff?
Yeah. Do you want me to do like I can do a little backstory and then just highlight the martial arts aspects of it. Do you want that?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So I was born in China, originally Chinese. When I
Wh-
was four, my
what city?
mom
What city in China?
in oh, everyone knows this city. It's the city of Wuhan. Wuhan.
Wuhan. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, I don't
yeah,
know.
everyone
I've
knows
heard
that
of it,
city
but I don't
now.
know where it is.
Well, it's almost smack center China, as smack center as you can be in a irregularly shaped shape.
Okay, okay.
So if you take the south coastal city of Guangzhou, which is near Hong Kong, and then you take the east, let's say on your camera, if you take the east coastal city of Shanghai
Mm-hmm.
and you kind
Mm-hmm.
of do that,
Oh, okay.
Wuhan's like right there. Yeah,
Okay, got it, got it. And
yeah.
you started doing Taekwondo in China?
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, so I was born in China, and then when I was four, my mom moved us to Canada.
Okay.
I believe you know I'm Canadian,
I
right?
remember something about Canada. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So moved us to Canada, got our Canadian citizenship. When I was nine, we moved back to China for family and financial reasons. And then, when I was 13 in China, I started Taekwondo. Um, then the reason was because it was just a young lad's natural desire to fight.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
said to my mom, "Mom, I want to learn how to fight." She goes, "Okay." She looked around, found this place just a block away. All right, go there.
Okay.
So I started doing that when I was 13. And then at 18, I came to the States for college. Um, and then once I graduated college, I went back to Canada at 21. So a lot of jumping back and forth.
Uh-huh. And how old are you now?
Um,
Remind me how old you are?
I'm 30. I'm 30. This year I turned 31. In 2 months I turned 31.
Okay. Oh, you're a baby,
Yeah,
man. Especially
yeah,
for
I
I
am.
think you're the youngest guest I've had so far.
I was telling that to my wife. I think of the youngest guy he's gonna have on the show.
Yes, I think so. So far. So hold on. It went China, Canada, China, States, Canada.
Yeah.
And so where were you when you went to college in the States when you were 18? Was that here in
Y
SoCal?
yeah, yeah, Los Angeles, USC.
USC. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
USC, and then you graduated, and then you went back to
Uh,
Canada.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then,
And so yeah, so I was in Canada, met my wife, dated, got married, and we're actually back in the States because of my wife. Well, because
okay.
her company headquartered in Canada, they sent her down here in 2 years ago, 2022. No, 3 years ago now. Wow, time flies. Originally, it was a temporary assignment,
Okay.
and then they kept extending and extending and extending. And then one of the managers down here is like, hey, you want to work for me down here? We'll get you a visa, get you work. So we just submitted a green card application a couple months ago. It's like, hey, well, we'll sponsor you for a green card, you and your husband. She's like, yeah, yeah, I want to stay here. We
What
want to stay here.
what does she do?
She is in human resources. She's in HR.
Okay.
So what happened was her company during COVID, they bought two companies down here in SoCal, and they sent her down here to do the integration.
Okay.
I think that's what they call it.
That
To
sounds right. I don't know the corporate
yeah,
world very well either, or HR, but that
yeah,
sounds right. We'll call it that,
yeah.
integration. All right. And that was
So
say center down here in 2022 to do the integration.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
2022 September.
Okay.
Yeah. So I married a Canadian to come work in the States. Yeah,
That's one way of putting it, right?
yeah.
So, what about your job? Did you have to quit, or how'd it go for you?
So I'm a mechanical engineer.
All right.
So yes, I quit my job in Canada, came down here and found another job,
Okay. And
which is
in
still in
mechanical
mechanical.
engineering.
Yeah,
Okay.
still in mechanical engineering. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you do when you're not wearing a gi.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
I believe you're a math professor, right?
I am a math professor. Yes.
Ah,
So my last day of work is this coming Wednesday until the third week of August. So, yeah, I've got about 2.5 months off. We're going to Japan. We're leaving for
nice.
Japan in 2 weeks, and we'll be there for a month, and then I'll come back.
Ah.
And actually, I do have to teach summer school, but
Oh,
that's
really?
just one afternoon class for like 5 weeks, so it's pretty mellow. Yeah.
Well, in Japan they have judo headquarters.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's what every judo practitioner considers the headquarters of judo.
Oh, really? So you mean like
But
the way that most jujitsu people consider what, like the Gracie or the Brazil is the
yeah,
headquarters
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
jujitsu? That's well, I mean, it started in Japan, right? Judo?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Started in Japan. Um, I don't know how many hundreds of years ago. But right now, in Japan, there's the organization is called Kodokan, Koka, Kodokan, Kodokan.
Okay.
It's that's the name of the organization, name of the building, and it's a huge gymnasium with, I believe, 6 or 7 floors, and every floor is just full of mats.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what city it's in?
Probably in Tokyo. Let me look at it right here.
Okay.
Kodokan building.
Yeah, I'm curious because we'll be all over. We were just talking about our itinerary right now. We're going to be in all over the place.
It's an
Um,
8-story building in Tokyo.
okay. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
is that, as a judo guy, is that a place you would like to visit?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Okay. And so speaking of that, your journey, did your
hmm
journey start in Canada or did it all start here?
My martial arts journey.
Well, yeah, I know the Taekwondo thing started in
hmm
China, and then
hmm
what happened after that?
Yeah, yeah. So started Taekwondo at age 13 in China, and I kept practicing more or less until COVID hit. So
Oh,
I was 22, 23 when that happened. That was COVID 2020, so that was 5 years
mm-hmm.
ago. I was
25.
20. Oh, wow. Well, let's say I stopped at 23 because I don't think I kept practicing for that long.
Okay.
So there was so I did Taekwondo for 10 years, and then actually in the middle of that, I found this little kung fu school that was also pretty close by during the whole time, and I joined that school for about like almost a year.
Okay.
And this was when that movie Ip Man came out. Do you know Ip Man, like the guy who goes and he fights 10 karate guys on the mat? Like he does like the Wing Chun stuff, like that kind of stuff.
I don't know the movie, but I take it this inspired you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Ip Man the movie came out, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I want to learn that style. I want to learn Wing Chun. Everyone wants to learn Wing Chun." So I found this Wing Chun school, and that's what they used for marketing. They had a huge poster of Ip Man out front, like, "Hey, this is what we teach." So I joined that school, and what happened was the instructor, the master, we call them in Chinese, he was a professional MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And while he did certainly know the style, he actually trained at the original city, the city in which that style originated.
Okay.
Um, he later became a professional MMA fighter, so he would teach half the class he would teach that traditional kung fu style, and in the other half he would teach us no-gi jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. So I guess, and
So
going into that school, you didn't really expect that, right? You were expecting the Wing Chun thing, but then he's
yeah,
mixing in jujitsu. So he's really giving you a well-rounded, style of techniques.
yeah, yeah. So for half a year, I did no-gi jiu-jitsu and I had no idea what it was. I just knew that because in Wing Chun there are a series of takedowns as well.
Okay.
The whole idea is you overwhelm your opponent with a flurry of strikes, and then once you get close, you take him down. And so I guess this guy, his thought was, you know what? I'm a professional MMA fighter. I know no jiu-jitsu. Let's teach these kids what to do after the fight goes to the ground. So that was my first exposure to jiu-jitsu when I didn't even know what that it was. I didn't even know it was called jiu-jitsu. I just thought, oh, okay, this is interesting. We're gonna roll on the ground for a little bit.
That's awesome, man. So what, I mean, what things did you learn? Jiu-jitsu wise in Nogi, what were you learning? Were you learning the basics of fundamental side control, mount, escapes, submissions, all that?
So the way that he taught us, he left the defense all to us to figure out.
Okay.
So he taught us the basic the rear naked choke, arm bar, kimura, Americana. He taught us oblique locks as well.
Okay.
But in terms of how to get out of it, he just left it up to us to figure out.
And how did that go?
For me, it seemed to go okay. I just kind of naturally started um, bringing my knees to my chest. It was just,
Okay.
all right, someone's in front of me. I got some limbs I can use to get between me and the other guy. So I'm just gonna bring my knees to my chest and hope for the best. And somehow that worked out. Somehow I found myself getting full guard, half guard from that um, basic knees to the chest drive, that principle.
Okay.
So, I only did that for about half a year,
Uh-huh.
so
Uh-huh.
didn't retain much,
Okay.
but that's what I remember from that time. Yeah.
But it sounds like for that half a year, you're doing that, but you're also training Taekwondo as well at that other
Yes.
gym.
Yes, that's right.
That's a lot of martial arts training in that 6 month period. I mean, that's a good amount. I'm sure you retained something.
Of the jujitsu, I retain very vivid memories of still being submitted
Okay.
left, right, and center
Okay.
by the senior students. But for Taekwondo, because I did it for so long, I still have that. Yeah.
So you're pretty comfortable, would you say, Taekwondo wise? You're still pretty comfortable with kicks and whatnot, like how to plant your feet, how to deliver a kick to the head, to the body. I mean, roundhouse, things like that.
More or less, yeah. I don't think I'm flexible enough to do the head kicks anymore,
Okay.
but in general, the general mechanics, the movement of the body, I'm still quite comfortable. I hang out with my Taekwondo buddies once a week or so, and we're always roughhousing and
Your Taekwondo buddies.
spontaneously.
So those
Yeah.
Taekwondo buddies that you trained with in China, they're all here now, or do you
Oh
also
no
train
no.
here
So,
now?
at when I was in college at USC, I joined the Taekwondo club.
Okay.
Um, and it just so happens that a couple of them live nearby, and so we hang
Okay.
out pretty regularly.
Okay. I mean, Jason, I got to say, it sounds like you have one of the more well-rounded games of anybody at our gym. You've got Taekwondo, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, Wing Chun. I mean, does it end there? Don't tell me you're a black belt in karate as well or something.
No, no. Just I have a black belt in Taekwondo, but that's it. That's the only
Okay.
black colored belt I got.
Okay. And so when did judo come into the fray? When did you introduce
Mhm.
that?
After COVID, after things started opening up,
Okay.
I decided. Well, but actually, back at USC, I tried out a couple of other martial arts classes,
Okay.
just trying them out. I tried out boxing, tried out capoeira, tried out the Filipino one, Kali, just dabbling. And I when I tried out the judo class or the judo club in college, I found that I quite liked it.
Okay.
So I did that for maybe for a full semester back in college.
But this is, so you
And
said the judo class or club. So this wasn't like, I mean, how organized were these classes? Was it like very strict, like the kind of class you'll find around here taking judo, or was this, what was it like, that class?
yeah, it was a recreational club run by administered by students, but the sensei was a local sensei who would come in and teach,
Oh,
and he would run that class like he would at his dojo, presumably. And so it was pretty similar to my current judo dojo, the way it's run.
okay.
And so I'd say it was pretty organized. Yeah.
Okay, so you took that judo class. Now, why did you? Obviously, you've had an interest in martial arts for a long time, but what
hmm
before you took that judo class, had you been wanting to do something like judo for a while? Was that something you wanted to incorporate into your game?
Yeah, yeah, because Taekwondo was all kicking,
Right.
70% kicking, and I think most Taekwondo practitioners that have been in it for as long as I have, they would agree with me that Taekwondo is not the most practical when it comes to full contact
Mm-hmm.
fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, within the rule sets of Taekwondo, where you can only kick and with the occasional punch here and there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everyone can fight well in a rule set that they've become
Sure.
adapted to. But once you take out those rules, like once you put them in a cage, for example, you gotta have your hands, you gotta have your takedowns, you gotta have your wrestling, you gotta have your ground game. And so that was my motivation to expand into other martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And I found judo to be like if someone were to ask me, like, if someone without any martial arts background were to
Mm-hmm.
ask me, which martial art would you recommend for self-defense? And this is one of your questions.
Yeah, it is.
Um, I would tell them judo
Okay.
because judo is all about staying standing while taking the other guy to the ground. And once that happens, they're on the ground, you're on your 2 feet, you have mobility, you can get out of whatever situation you're in. Um, and so that's why I decided to focus on judo as my so after Taekwondo, judo was my second martial art that I focused on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why judo.
Yeah, and that's a great answer to the question too, because again, you're a unique guest of ours because you have all this judo experience. You did that class. You currently train. And yeah, that's a huge question that everybody who trains wants to know. What's the best martial art for self-defense? Which one's the best? Which one's the best? And I can't help but think that judo's got to be good because of exactly what you just said, which I've thought about before. It's like, sure, if we're both on the ground, okay, that's one thing. But if I can get somebody else on the ground and I'm still standing, that
hmm
sounds pretty ideal to me.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if we're both already down there, if I get tackled and we're down there, I want to know my jujitsu 100%
Yes.
for sure. We all do. But I
Definitely.
sure
Yeah.
wouldn't mind being able to throw somebody on the ground and not have myself end up on the ground at the same time. So you would put
hmm
judo ahead of jujitsu then in terms of if you're going to learn one and one only for self-defense, that would be it?
If it's one and one only, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in judo, actually, we I would say we do 30% groundwork as well.
All right. I was going to ask that too. So what
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
groundwork in judo then? Like, how does it compare to what we do at jujitsu?
Yeah. Oh, and before I do that, let me just finish my little history
Yeah.
of my journey. So I did just one semester of judo in college, and then after COVID, I started up judo again because it's always been on my mind.
Okay.
And so yeah, and then here we are.
Okay. Oh, so that's the end of
So
the story. Well, there's more. I
yeah, yeah,
mean, the
yeah.
jujitsu and like, but what about like you joined our gym? You hold on. You left college, you went to Canada, and then you came
Uh-huh,
back.
uh-huh.
What was there training going on in Canada while you were up there for those couple years?
In Canada, I tried two jujitsu schools,
Okay.
just one class each. but I didn't formally start jiu-jitsu until it came down to the States.
Now, why? You said tried and you didn't stick with those. Was there a reason you didn't? You didn't like the
Oh,
vibe?
just
Was it just or
just
schedule?
time. Yeah, schedule. Didn't have
Okay.
enough time.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but after it came down to the States, I couldn't. So we initially moved to Chino Hills. Do you know where that is? It's
Yeah, it's east of here, right?
yeah, east, close to the riverside.
Yeah, right.
Um, so I couldn't find a judo school when we first moved down here,
Oh, okay.
but there was jujitsu everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So started trying out schools. Initially found a school back over there called Sector, Sektor.
Okay.
That's Sean Roberts' school, if you know him.
No. Is he a
Uh,
judo guy, I take it?
no, he's a jujitsu
Oh,
guy.
sorry, my bad. Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah. He's a yeah, he's a well-known jiu-jitsu guy. Although he does have a brown belt in judo. Last I checked a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So he's pretty well-rounded too. But after a year living over to Chino Hills, wife and I decided to move here to Tustin because that's where a lot of our friends are. That's where our community is.
Oh, that
Um,
wasn't a work move then? Chino Hills to Tustin wasn't a work move?
no, that was purely preference.
And you both work remotely then, I take it.
No, we both go into the office.
Oh, really? So where if is the
Yeah.
office in Chino Hills?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So you guys
Every
both
day.
commute to Chino Hills.
Every day we drive 60 miles round trip. Yeah.
And do you carpool?
No,
Oh
separate
my
hers.
God.
Yeah.
What the hell? Okay. All
Yeah.
right. You guys really wanted to live in this area. I take it. Wow, that's some
Yes.
serious commuting going on there. All right, all right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now that kind of explains your weird training schedule because I didn't know until recently that you do Tuesday, Thursday, and you do Tuesday morning and Tuesday night, Thursday morning and Thursday night. Is that
Yes.
still your schedule, your training schedule?
That is still the schedule.
Okay.
That's the schedule within the past few months, I'd say I have found to work the best for
All
me.
right. All right.
So yeah.
And what about judo? What's your current, so we keep going back and forth. It's whatever. What's your
Yeah, yeah,
current
yeah.
judo training schedule?
Judo is every Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. So
Yeah,
before you
that's the
come to do the
intention.
Tuesday night at 1?
No. So Tuesday morning is jujitsu.
Oh, Tuesday night is judo.
Tuesday night is judo.
And what judo school do you go to? Is that Chino Hills or is that's still out
That's
there?
here in OC, Orange County Judo Training Center.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so you've been training. So which one started first? Was it here at One Jiu-Jitsu or at that OC Judo Training Center?
So when we moved here to Tustin, I started both more or less at the same time.
Okay.
Although back in Chino Hills, eventually I did find a judo school back there
Okay.
called Murillo Judo. Murillo being the last name of the sensei who taught there.
Okay.
Um, so actually back in Chino Hills, I kind of did that schedule as well, that morning evening combination.
Okay.
It wasn't as fixed as my current one.
Okay.
But yeah, if you live in Chino Hills, Murillo Judo is a great place to go because he is also a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, so he teaches both judo and jiu-jitsu at his school.
Wow. Okay. All right. So speaking of judo and jiu-jitsu, that's one of the things we left off on. You said
Uh-huh.
about 30% of judo is ground game, right?
Yes. Yes.
What is the ground game in judo like, that 30%?
The ground game in judo, which we called it ne waza, ne meaning ground and waza meaning technique.
Okay. And
So ground
hold
game
on.
is
What language is that?
Japanese.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, ne means ground and waza means. I mean, I speak some Japanese because of my wife, but I don't know either of those words. I'm
It
disappointed
could
in
be-
myself.
Oh man. Oh, is your wife Japanese?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Very
I
cool.
got to ask her about that. But if it's I mean, this could be old-fashioned Japanese, right? Like, I don't know. These could be kind of old words since judo's an old technique. So,
Perhaps. Because I'm not Japanese myself, so the Japanese I know I learned from judo. I learned from watching anime.
right. Okay.
yeah.
And because I know a word for ground, it's like yuka, and that's ground. But I mean, ne might be another word for ground. I mean, anyway,
It
I'm going to
could
ask
be.
my wife after this meeting for sure.
Yeah,
So
it's
newaza.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so newaza is groundwork, and then tachiwaza is stand up, where
Okay.
tachi is standing. I think that's more common to know
Okay.
that phrase.
Okay.
I just looked up the kanji for newaza, and the kanji for ne is more so to lie down, so it's not
Oh
exactly
yeah. Ah,
ground.
neru is to
Yeah,
sleep. Neru is
yeah. There
sleep.
you go. There you go.
And tate is stand. Like tateru is
Hmm.
standing. So maybe tate
Hmm.
and tachi, maybe there's something there.
I think
Well,
so. Yeah.
that's I gotta ask my wife about that for sure. Okay, okay, cool. So yeah, what is the judo ground game? The newaza, what's that all about?
Yeah, yeah, the newaza. In judo, newaza focuses on pinning
Okay.
and escaping a pin.
Okay.
Because the current judo rule set, the current Kodokan judo rule set, which is the main rule set followed by most judo organizations, and there's another judo rule set that allows a lot of jujitsu, so we can talk about that later.
And these are different kind of you're saying
These
different
are
rule sets. So like if you're going to compete judo, you might compete with that rule set or the other one?
almost every rule set is the Kodokan rule set,
Okay.
which is the more commonly recognized one, which is you
Okay.
start standing. The main goal of the match is put your opponent on the ground, flat on their back.
Uh-huh.
If you can do that, you win.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's ippon. That's 1 point.
Do you
You
have do
win.
you have to hold them there for 3 seconds like in wrestling and whatnot?
Only if the throw is not clear.
Wow. These are such
Yeah.
specific rules. All right.
Yeah. So if you do the throw and your opponent lands flatly on their back, and you're not on your back. So you can be on your knees. You could have fallen as well, but as long as your back is not on the mat and you get your opponent's back to the mat,
Mm-hmm.
you win. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
If you get half their back to the mat, like if they land on their shoulder, for example,
Okay.
that's a half point.
Okay.
So if you get a half point, you're awarded a half point, but you are then allowed to enter newaza. You're then allowed to go to the ground.
Oh, okay. Got
Yeah.
it. And then
So
once you go to the ground, you're trying to score other ground points, right?
correct,
I see.
correct.
I
If
see.
you get a pin, currently the rule is if you get a pin for 20 seconds, you win. Ippon.
Okay.
If you get a pin for some other number of seconds, I think it's 13 or something. I'll have to, it's you can look up the rules. So there's also a number of seconds for another half point.
Okay.
So if you get 2 half points, that's 1 full point, and
Okay.
you win again. Um, but yeah, so because you win by pinning your opponent, the newaza in judo focuses heavily on pinning and escaping pins.
I see.
So side control is a pin. Head and arm is a head and arm. Scarf hold. Scarf hold is a pin.
So you said head and arm scarf hold. So is that kind of like the head and arm that I know in jujitsu?
You probably know it. Yeah. So in jiu-jitsu, the scarf hold that I don't think we even call it a scarf hold. So in the basic, the basic set of techniques that all white belts at one learn,
Yeah.
we learn the reverse scarf hold.
Okay.
So that's the one where your back is
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
facing
It's
right,
like
and then you're
reverse head and
facing
arm kind of.
yeah, you're facing their legs.
Yes.
So you take that, you turn around and you face the head,
Yeah.
and you have your scarf hold,
Right. Isn't that's not
more or
head that's not
less.
just head and arm then?
So I believe we call it the head and arm
Okay.
at One Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And then to distinguish it from the reverse scarf hold, so
Okay.
nobody gets confused. I believe that's
Oh,
why it
okay,
is.
okay. So it is
Um,
pretty much the same thing, you think, right?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah. So
Okay.
so so the head and arm, I believe, is what we identify as a scarf hold. And
Okay.
then there's so that's the one where your arm is underneath your opponent's neck,
Yeah.
underneath your head, and then that's distinct from the underhook
Okay.
scarf hold,
Okay.
which what you just grab the underhook
Yeah.
instead of having it behind the head.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So most of judo, yeah.
So are there in that case, I mean, I'm not hearing submissions then. I'm hearing pinning and
Hmm.
holds, right? So there's really isn't submissions in judo?
Submissions are there.
Okay.
Submissions are allowed and also heavily practiced. It's just a little bit less um, attempted in Newaza because faster to go for a pin. It's faster and simpler
I
to go for a pin.
see. I see.
And the reason for that is if you don't progress on the ground, if the
Uh-huh.
ref sees that nothing's happening,
Yeah.
they'll stand you back up.
I see. Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
see. And
Yeah.
so, do you know from experience, have you competed?
No, no, I have not competed.
I'm surprised, like with all this martial arts interest and experience and proficiency. I'm surprised. Do you not are you not interested, or do you plan to?
I've competed in Taekwondo in
You have.
college.
Okay.
Yeah, in Taekwondo though. So,
Yeah.
but in grappling, Judo, and Jiu-Jitsu, I don't have plans to compete currently, mostly due to time,
Okay.
mostly due to scheduling. But uh, eventually, if I find the time to increase my training frequency, to really have like a couple of weeks to focus on preparing for competition, I'm open to it. I'm very open to it. Yeah.
Cool. Tell me about the belts in judo. I have no idea. I know
Mhm.
there's a green. That's all I know, but I don't know the progression. I assume it starts at white and ends at black, but I don't know anything about what goes on in between.
Yeah, so it goes white, yellow, orange, green, purple, brown, and then black.
Okay. Let me see if I got all. Let me see if I can repeat that.
Yeah.
White, yellow, orange, green, purple, brown, black.
Yes.
White, yellow, orange, green, purple, brown, black. So that's two more than we have because we have white, blue, purple, brown, black. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have no stripes in judo. We have no um we
Right.
don't have the four stripe per belt.
Okay.
It's just a solid color.
Okay. And what are you?
Um
What are you right now? You're green?
I have the green belt,
And
yes.
you got that? I don't. At least I'm assuming it's recently, just because I saw your Instagram post recently. But I don't know how old that is. Like
Yeah, yeah, that was December.
December. So hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
White, yellow, green. So you're the, and that's the third one, right?
Green is the fourth one. So
Oh,
white, yellow, orange, green. Yeah.
oh. So you're right in the middle then.
Right in the middle.
Okay. And how do you feel about that? Like I'm all nervous to ever even get a promotion. And a bunch of our buddies just got promoted to blue.
Yeah.
The Chris and Mike and JP, Mark, I think a handful of others just got their blue belt. So what's it like in judo? Is it similar, like when you get that promotion, do you feel like the lower belts are kind of gunning for you now and the higher belts are kind of like going a little harder on you? You got to think
The
about that
higher
one.
belts definitely welcome you warmly.
Okay. All right.
They help you season that belt.
Okay. Okay.
The lower belts, yeah, yeah, everyone does. I think for the first month or two, you show up with a new belt, everyone's like, hey, 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 look
Right.
at that new belt. Let's see what you got now.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so, but I mean, do you feel pretty, like I hear a lot about like depending on the martial art, the
Hmm.
belt, definitely means a different thing, and I do hear often that certainly at our school and at a lot of the it kind of depends on the school, even in jujitsu, but certainly at our school, the belt really actually means it definitely means something. Like if you have the
Yes.
blue, if you have the purple, it means that you have achieved that. Is it the same in judo? Would you say? Like, do you feel like you definitely like? Do you feel like you are certainly a whole lot better than you were when you started judo?
I would say so, yeah. Currently, just in terms of number of years
Uh
practiced,
huh.
because I'm 2 years in now to judo, I definitely feel compared to when I first started, I am a whole lot better. Um, but it's interesting that you mentioned the importance of belts, because the colored belt system in judo is actually quite a recent implementation,
Is that right?
recent within the past maybe even 50. I don't, we'll have to check.
Okay.
But traditionally, you wear a white belt until you're a black belt.
Oh my God. No stripes,
Yeah.
nothing, just
No, no.
dude, that'd be rough.
So they have even though that was the traditional system, they do give you ranking.
Okay.
It's not shown on the belt, but they tell you, but there are 6 levels
Okay.
before black belt. So I listed 6 colors earlier.
Yes.
Um, And so there were distinguishment between
The levels.
competency. Yeah.
But how did you know? Like, if you're not wearing, like, is it only the master knows, like the sensei? He's
I
the only one that
I
knows, or
I couldn't tell you. I
yeah,
would
right,
presume.
right,
Yeah.
okay,
But so it used to be just wear a white belt.
okay,
At some point, they decided, hey, we'll give you a brown belt before the black belt.
okay,
And then I think probably when judo expanded to the United States and across the world, people started implementing the color belt system. That's probably when it began.
okay.
But yeah, that's how it used to be.
And there was another judo guy at our gym that has since left. Did you know Sung? A guy named Sung?
No, a couple of people have mentioned him to me,
Right.
but
He would
I
train
have.
yeah, big Korean dude. And he has
Mm.
since moved back to Korea, but I think he was a black belt
Oh,
in
okay.
judo.
I see.
And yeah, he was telling me that in judo it doesn't take, like, I guess in jujitsu the kind of time frame can be, I think I've heard, from what I hear, to go from white to black belt can take like 10 plus years, right? And
A
I
lot of
what
years, yeah.
he told me that in judo it's closer to 6. Is that what you found too?
That's about right. Yeah.
Okay. And is that about, sounds like that's about the path you're on. You're about midway through and you've been going a couple years.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like for me it'll probably be a bit longer than the
Okay.
average because I'm not training as much.
Okay.
But anywhere from 4 through 8 years is
Mm-hmm.
when I ask my judo black belt team members, that's what they've been telling me.
Okay.
One time I met a guy who got it in 2 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, but he was one of those train 5 days a week,
Uh-huh.
one of those guys. So
Right.
it's
You'd have to
not quite.
be, that's, yeah, I don't understand how that's even possible. And you're training, I know you're training the Tuesday nights at judo, but is that it, or is it more than that?
That's it. That's it for now.
So one night a week at judo, and then you're doing two
Yeah.
mornings a week and one night of jujitsu, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
1 and 3. Ah, interesting. So why are you not doing that Thursday night at judo as well? Or, why aren't you doing 2 and 2? Why are you training
Uh-huh.
more jujitsu than judo now?
Because Professor Welly started bothering me about not coming to evenings.
About coming to evenings?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. He
Okay.
kept telling me, "Hey, Jason, you should come. You should come roll with the white belts a bit, so you're not always getting." Well, he didn't say it outright, but you can see the
Right.
twinkle in his eye,
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you're
Yeah.
getting demolished every morning by the color belts."
By the higher belts. Okay, that's true,
Mhm.
man. Hey, I'll be joining you in those mornings again soon.
Yeah, man.
I got my summer back. I don't know if it'll be before I go to Japan, but certainly after. Um,
Nice.
so what else? Let's see here. Oh yeah, we already talked competition. Well, let's talk your Taekwondo competitions. When did you do that, and how did all that go?
I just competed in college as part
Okay.
of the club collegiate team. Um, I think I competed maybe 4 or 5 times.
Do
Not.
you do you wear headgear when you do that?
Yeah. So in Taekwondo, you wear chest protector,
Okay.
helmet, arm guards, shin guards.
Oh,
You
that's a,
got you
that's a
got
lot of stuff
little,
to wear.
and not only that, you got little socks for your feet that they have padding for the back of your feet,
Okay.
and then you wear gloves too.
Wear gloves too.
Yeah,
Wow.
and a groin protector
Okay.
and a mouth guard, so you're fully kitted up.
Okay. So
Um,
you're not really going to get injured. It's not likely that you're going to get very injured when you do these taekwondo competitions.
oh no, you still get
Oh,
injured.
really? Did you get
Yeah.
injured?
No, but I fractured a guy's rib once.
Ooh, damn. Okay. With
That
it.
was that was. I mean, I felt bad for the guy, but I'm honestly quite proud to say it.
Yeah. That's awesome. You should be proud. That is awesome. So, speaking of injuries, have you had any injuries at jiu-jitsu?
Nothing permanent so far.
Okay.
I've had. Let's see. I've had. What was it? Was it my ankle? Was it my shoulders? I had a shoulder. Um, I don't know what it was. I just had trouble moving that my right shoulder for a couple of months, I think, 2 or 3 months. A sprained muscle or tendon or something like that. Um,
Was that at the beginning, like when you first started training?
that wasn't the shoulder was recent.
Oh,
Um, recently and recently it's healed. But in the beginning, I had a lot of elbow pain.
okay.
Yeah, I think from getting armbarred.
From getting armbarred,
Yeah,
it'll
from
do it to you, especially
receiving.
if you don't
Yeah,
tap quickly.
exactly, from receiving the armbar. And also, when white belts start now, everyone doesn't really know their capacity. So
Yeah.
some white belts are ripping those arm bars even in drilling.
Yes.
And so I think that's how I got my elbow pain for a
Yeah.
couple of months.
Yeah. I love how you're saying
Um,
some of those white belts, and you and I are both white belts. But I get
yeah,
it
yeah,
though. It's
yeah.
like there's a difference between a white belt who's like just started in his first few months and who's been doing it a couple years like you and I have. Because I probably
Yeah.
made mistakes like that that at least I can say I probably don't make anymore in terms of like, oh,
Oh,
we're
for
just
sure.
drilling, take it very easy during drill time on, you don't have to like crank it hard when you're just
Yeah.
learning the technique. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's definitely a big learning curve within those first couple years.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Aside from that, let's see. I don't believe I've had any ankle or wrist injuries.
Okay.
Um, and every once in a while, I can't turn my head.
Yeah.
But
Well, the shoulder thing's interesting too that you mentioned because I remember when I first started, both of my shoulders were killing me, like just
mm,
absolutely killing me, like felt like inside the rotator cuff somewhere, right?
hmm
I never
hmm
got it looked at or anything, and I remember everybody I talked to said, "Oh yeah, that's happens to everybody at the beginning," because I think it had to do with not knowing how to use your arms correctly and kind of using a lot of like weak motions like this to try to get people off you, maybe, but the
Yeah,
weird thing was it just went away. It was there for a couple months and it was really bothering me for a couple months. And then it just went away. And I attribute that to just learning, you know, better techniques at what we do, you know?
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The shoulder thing. And what else? Let's talk about do you spend much time researching outside of class? Like watching
Ah,
videos, watching tape, and
yeah.
going into class and you know what, I'm gonna try this flying armbar today.
I spent a lot of time researching
You
out of
do.
class.
I had a
Yeah,
feeling about you,
yeah.
Jason. And what do you use? Do you use something called, do you use like BJJ Fanatics, Grappler's Guide, any specific resource?
100% YouTube.
100% YouTube. Okay.
100%
Now,
YouTube.
how does it work for you? Do you say, you know what? I kind of want to learn how to do this kind of escape or submission better. And then you go for that. And then you kind of try to implement that the next time you roll.
Yeah, yeah. So it's based on whatever I have difficulty with that week or
Okay.
that day or whatever. So, in the very beginning, when I joined One Jiu-Jitsu, I was researching heavily bottom side control,
Mm-hmm.
bottom side control, survival and escape. That was
Okay.
so for a couple of months, that was my focus. And then once I felt more confident in bottom side control, then I started just whatever I was working on in the moment. I think at one point it was, I can kind of get out of bottom side control now. What do I do after that?
Okay.
And so I started researching wrestling up from bottom side control,
Okay.
um, taking the back from bottom side control, how to better use underhooks from bottom side control.
Okay. And
Um,
it sounds like you are definitely benefiting from this extra research you're doing. Like you're learning stuff and it's working. Would you say?
yeah, yeah. But I would quickly add that in the very beginning, I didn't have much success in all the videos I was watching. Maybe one out of 20, 30 videos
Okay.
helped me.
Okay.
What I find to have really helped me is I've created a bit of a system for myself
Okay.
in how I watch these videos. And so what I do is I have a playlist. I have multiple playlists for Jiu-Jitsu
Okay.
in YouTube that, where I save my videos for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have a main playlist that I call videos of the week.
Okay.
Videos of the week. So I keep this playlist short, around 10 videos, each 2 to 3, depending, mostly 2 to 3 minutes long, but sometimes there are those 40-minute, 50-minute recordings of an entire freaking seminar that I would watch.
Yeah.
But I will have videos of the week that I would review throughout the week,
Okay.
mostly during my lunch breaks. sometimes at night. And then I have another playlist called rotation, videos in rotation,
Okay.
which are videos that I have found helpful, but that are not my focus.
Okay.
But I would go back to that playlist every once in a while when I encounter something in practice that I want to work on.
Okay.
I have a playlist called Not Yet. Not Yet.
Hold on. This is 3 playlists so far that you have, right?
So far, so far. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
So this,
assume things like flying arm bars are in the not yet thing, right? Or no?
oh no, that's not. I don't save those. I don't
Okay.
save those.
Okay. So what's in the not yet right now?
Um, the techniques that I identify as useful,
Okay.
but that I don't consider myself skilled enough to implement yet.
I see. I see. So what would
So
be an
yeah,
example?
mounted triangles.
Mounted. Oh, so getting
Yeah.
triangle from mount.
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of advanced, I think, right?
Well, for me it is. Yeah.
Yeah, for any white belt, I would think that's advanced. So, all right, cool. Where were we? I'm already. Oh yeah, yeah. Your different playlists. So, do you have? That's 3 playlists. Is there more? Is there a 4th and 5th playlist? This takes some time to create these things, right?
Yeah, yeah. I I try to not drown myself in videos. I
Okay.
try to be intentional with what I watch.
Okay.
So I do my best to avoid all the fancy stuff that I'm totally not ready for,
Okay.
and I focus on the basic stuff, videos that highlight concepts
Okay.
over technique, for example.
Okay.
But I would say these are my 3 main videos, and I do have other playlists that my jiu-jitsu videos spill over into. Like my watch later playlist is pretty much all jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I have a separate BJJ dash watch later playlist. It's so in that one
And
it's
that's
just
different from not yet. That's another one.
that one is kind
You
of
got a lot, man.
out of control. I don't really, that one's just,
Okay.
I forget about that one. But
Okay.
I would say the 3 I've mentioned, the videos of the week, the videos in rotation, and the not yet. Those are my three main playlists that I go through. I should mention one more playlist,
Mm-hmm.
which is I've titled that Collections.
Okay.
and this is a very short playlist,
Okay.
very short. Currently I have like 4 videos in there, I think,
Okay.
and these are videos where I've extracted the techniques and they've worked for me reliably.
I see. I
And so
see.
these are the video, yeah. So only when I've successfully taken a video and successfully implemented it in practice do I put it into that playlist.
And that's when you say successfully implemented in practice, you don't mean like one time. You mean like you've got it enough times to where you're like, okay, hey, I kind of learned that one. I feel good about that.
Yes.
Wow. I think I'll celebrate if I ever do that once. So can you send me the one that you have, like a good one for escaping bottom side
Yeah.
control? Because when I'm in
Yeah.
bottom side control, all I know is to shrimp, get the elbow in, get the knee in,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
just try to do something from there. But whenever have somebody inside control, when I got top side control, I am noticing everybody's learning some ways to get out of that I don't know. And I'm like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know if I'm that guy on the bottom, I don't have much to go on and I'm never really able to escape very well. So I'd love to learn maybe a simple escape that you could send me from a YouTube vid. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
absolutely. I got 2 videos I'm thinking about right now that I'll send you
Yes. Yes.
after we're done.
Okay. So how about like let's talk about specifics of like I've got this question here. Let's talk takedown sweeps, passes, submissions. But I mean when it comes to takedowns, like whenever we do King of the Hill takedowns, when they say, "Okay, guys, line up King of the Hill takedowns," you must be like, "Ah, sweet. I'm going to kick some ass now." Or maybe not exactly that, but you got to be like a little more like relaxed than maybe relaxed is not the right word, but a little more like, okay, versus like, okay, let's do King of the Hill, anything else, right? Because takedowns, you know better than most people there.
Honestly, um, and this kind of ties into another question about how do I deal with being discouraged.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Um, so like naturally, I thought that too when I first started jiu-jitsu, that hey, I got this judo background,
Yeah.
I should be able to dominate on the feet,
Yeah.
to use egotistical term there. But I found that that's not the case.
Okay.
That's I do recognize that when we do stand up King of the Hill, I do recognize I do better,
Yeah.
I would say, but it's not as easy as I thought to take people down in
Okay.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
And I can highlight various body posture differences and whatever, but it's yeah, it's just not as easy.
Right.
And
Right.
in the beginning, that discouraged me because I thought, hey, I've been doing judo. Why isn't my judo working in jiu-jitsu? Um, but it does come down to in judo because of the rule set, we're all standing straight up
Right.
most of the time,
Right.
and we do hunch over, we do crouch into that wrestling stance depending on how the match flows.
Right.
But in jiu-jitsu, because pulling guard a uh, is a common practice, so the body posture is often preset
Right.
to execute a guard pull.
I see. Yeah.
And so I think the difference in just the body mechanics and movement patterns is it kind of messed me up in the very beginning.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. I would think that would be advantageous though. Like, like somebody's like getting ready to pull guard versus you getting ready to do some crazy judo throw. Like, again, I don't know judo, so it's like I would think that would just give you the advantage. But you're saying it wasn't that simple.
No.
Uh-huh.
I found that so there's a whole subcategory of YouTube videos called Judo to take down guard pullers.
Oh, okay. All right. And you've watched some
And
of these. You got you got another playlist there then, huh?
no, not yet, not yet. But I think that just highlights how effective guard pulling is.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
Now,
and actually,
really,
yeah,
like I
yeah.
feel like guard pulling is just not. I mean, I guess when you say effective, you mean like pretty much on the mat, right? Because I don't know. For me, it seems like is guard pulling really a smart move in a street
Mhm.
fight?
It's funny you should mention that because there's a video series on YouTube called the Self Defense Championships.
Okay.
And
And you know YouTube well in
yeah,
terms of
I'm on
this.
YouTube a little bit
It's
too
okay.
much, I
It's
would
okay.
say. But so what this series did is they invited martial artists from across the spectrum to test their skills in common self-defense scenarios.
Ooh.
One of them being a knife attacker within a closed space.
Uh-huh.
And so this one guy, one jiu-jitsu guy, his YouTube channel is Jordan Teaches Jiu-Jitsu. He's
Okay.
quite a well-known, accomplished jiu-jitsu YouTuber.
Okay.
And so for this knife attack simulation, he pulled guard,
Wow.
and it worked.
What?
Yeah, yeah. So in this simulation, it was one-on-one, the aggressor, full protection with
Yeah.
I think it was like one of those painted knives where if they slice you, there's a red streak on your white shirt, and so you
Okay.
know exactly where they got you.
Okay.
And so what this guy Jordan did, he just laid down,
Uh-huh.
flat on his back on the
Uh-huh.
ground. He used his feet to do upwards kicks
Okay.
to keep the knife attacker away, and then at some point, once the attacker got close enough, he did like I don't know, some De La Riva, some type of sweep.
Okay.
And they repeated this scenario a couple of times, so it wasn't just a one-off. And
Uh-huh.
he did pretty well.
But
Like
this
he
was
didn't.
but De La Riva from the bottom while the other guy's standing. That's not exactly a guard pull, right? So you mean like when you said guard pull, I thought you meant we're both standing, I grab you and we
Oh,
fall on
oh,
my back. Is that not what happened?
sorry. Yeah. So if I were to describe it without terminology, he sat down.
He sat down
He sat down.
and kind of invited the attacker to come to him.
Correct.
Ah, I see. So he played guard, like playing
He
guard.
played guard. There we go. There we
Okay,
go.
okay. So he didn't do the guard pull. He didn't do stand up, grab you, pull you down. He was already
No,
sitting.
no.
And then
Yeah,
but that
correct.
was okay. So playing guard, sitting down with the guy standing with a knife, and he was able to effectively defend against the knife attacker guy
Yes.
in a couple different ways. You said they ran it a couple different iterations.
Yes. so they had, I believe, 5 or 6 rounds.
Okay.
One of them was straight up knife guy. Another was you had a knife. No, you had some sort of you had like a little shield, and then they put an obstacle in there,
Okay.
something like that. But for this guy Jordan, playing guard worked in a one-on-one knife attacker scenario.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Here I am sitting here thinking that there's no application, not no application, but that is not the most applicable thing to pull guard. But I guess if the dude has a knife, or play guard, I guess if the dude has a knife, maybe.
But you know what? Earlier in our session, I mentioned there was a separate rule set for judo.
Yes.
In this rule set, which I believe for now is mostly popular in Japan,
Okay.
they allow guard pulling.
Oh, that's got to be
Yeah.
a relatively new thing then, huh?
No. This split from judo. This split from mainstream judo back when the founder of judo was still alive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what happened was this group of universities in Japan, they tried out this new rule set, and this rule set became popular. It's called Kosen Judo. Kosen being the name of the organization that these universities belong to.
Mm-hmm.
And they're spread out across multiple cities. But what happened was they allowed guard pulling, and guard pulling was so effective that Kodokan, the main judo governing body, decided, hey, for our judo, we're going to ban guard pulls.
Because it was too effective?
Because it was
It's
so
funny.
effective.
I thought you were
Yeah.
going to go the other way around and say, well, they realized it's effective, therefore they said, okay, but it was too effective for them to allow it. That's what I'm hearing, huh?
Yeah, that's one mainstream interpretation
I
of why they
see.
banned guard pulls.
I see.
The other mainstream interpretation is because it took away from the self-defense aspect of judo,
Okay.
which is what the founder of judo, Judoka no, that was his opinion. That hey, if you're on the ground, it's not much of a you can be a bunch of guys come up behind you, stomp you on the head, so on and so forth. But in terms of the competition, it was just once someone pulls guard and the fight goes to the ground, if the guard puller is skilled enough to keep the other guy from standing back up, then the whole match just stays on the ground. And so judo being the founder of judo, his intention was for judo to remain a standing martial art with supplemented by groundwork. So he wanted judo to stay on the feet, and so that's when kind of the mainstream judo banned guard pulling as an entry.
I see.
Banned guard pulling as an initiation of the of groundwork.
Oh.
While the other rule set allowed guard pulling.
Oh, okay. And now you're saying, like, in terms of judo competitions, some of them allow the guard pulling and some don't?
Yeah. So the Kodokan rule set is, and like I said earlier, if you don't complete the throw, you're still allowed to go to the ground and attempt a pin or a submission. But you're not allowed to pull guard into the ground.
Okay.
If you go to the ground, it's got to be
so
with
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So specific and detailed, right? Like I feel like I would just be confused. But okay, interesting. So which one would you do if you had to go to a competition? Would you want to be able to guard pull or not?
Well, that's a good question.
I just thought of it.
Yeah. I think I would want to try out both.
Okay.
I think I would probably, if I did compete, I would probably go standard judo rule set, no guard pulls.
Okay.
Simply because I am doing jiu-jitsu and that's where I get my hit of guard pulling.
Yes, that's true.
I get my dose of guard pulling in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So, you also touched on feelings of discouragement, would you say, and you were talking about the takedown. So were you getting a little discouraged? Was that something that was like, okay, so like when it was like, I should be clearly better than most people in the stand-up game, and you were more challenged than you expected to be, right? And so So how like would you leave? Like, are we talking at the beginning? You would leave class like, damn it, seriously? Like I
Yeah,
okay. So you were. It was
yeah.
definitely. It was for sure discouragement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how would you deal with that? Like how what would like would you just be like, okay, I gotta go back and I gotta do a better job next time?
Um,
Or is that when you started watching those YouTube videos?
I would say the way that I countered the discouragement is I would focus on the I would say the discouragement comes from um, the thought of I didn't win this fight. I didn't win this match. It came from the idea that hey, I have to beat my opponent
Mm-hmm.
in order to feel accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And that mental framework I I identify to be the cause of my discouragement
I
because
see.
hey, I should be better
Mm-hmm.
because of my judo. But when I wasn't better, I felt discouragement. And the way that I got past that is no, it's not about me being the winner of this match. It's about the execution of the technique itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I started focusing on, you know, getting myself into the right position, getting the right angles,
Okay.
um, just focusing on being really technical
Mm-hmm.
about what I was doing. And even if I failed the execution, just knowing that I was progressing through those steps to do that technique
Mm-hmm.
um, was satisfying for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we're rolling in jiu-jitsu, my guard is I think my guard is terrible. I don't have a good I
Okay.
don't have a good guard at all. But when I'm able to recently I've been playing Spider Lasso,
Okay.
and when they get that lasso, oh, okay, I got the lasso. When I
Okay.
get that spider, okay, there we go. Got the spider,
Uh-huh.
got the grips.
Little
All right,
wins,
now
right?
that little wins. Let's
Uh-huh.
find that
Uh-huh.
angle. Let's find that underhook, so on and so forth. When I started changing my mindset to just a successful execution of a technique,
Uh-huh.
small or
Uh-huh.
big,
Uh-huh.
I found that to be that was a game changer for me in terms
Okay.
of my mental state and when
Yeah.
I was yeah.
Yeah, jujitsu is unique, and we talk about that a lot on this podcast. It's a big theme. It's unique in how humbling it is of all the
Hmm.
martial arts. And but
Hmm.
would you say that about judo as well? Is judo pretty humbling too? Like, do people walk in with like a strong, I don't know, jujitsu or wrestling background, and they expect, oh, I'll be able to pick this up pretty quickly, but then they're humbled pretty quickly? I would think if I get
A
thrown, I'm
little,
gonna be
yeah.
like, there's not much more humbling than getting thrown by
Hmm.
somebody who's maybe smaller than you. I would
Hmm.
think, and it, easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
One time, we had I mean, actually in judo we have a couple of jiu-jitsu black belts
Okay.
who come train. But one time, this jiu-jitsu black belt came to visit, and he had a very limited stand-up background.
Okay.
And I remember sparring with him, and I threw him, and I saw the look on his face,
Yeah.
kind of like that look of frustration. It's like, hey, I might not be a judo black belt, but I do jujitsu. I roll with wrestlers and
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
guys. So what's happening here? So I do see that. Um, but I feel like the humbling aspect is stronger in jujitsu
Mm-hmm.
because you're on your back more.
Okay.
That for me, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because in judo, you get thrown and you get back up, and you immediately have that second chance to redeem yourself.
I see. I see.
But in jujitsu, you get a guy who's good at knee on belly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
you get a guy who's good in mount, who's hunting those mounted triangles, hunting those arm bars. Oh,
Right.
and it's just a feeling of all that pressure on top of you
Uh-huh.
as well, just
Uh-huh.
throughout the whole ordeal.
Yeah.
I find that for me was much more humbling than it was getting thrown in judo.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about that detail specifically, which is, I mean, we talked about how humbling it was for you to come into jiu-jitsu with the judo background and specifically the takedowns. But I mean, you came into jiu-jitsu with not just judo, but you were Wing Chun, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, Taekwondo, judo. You came in with all that background. So did you, what, I mean, yeah, did you go through that beyond just the takedown part? Did you go through the whole like, oh wow, I thought I'd be better at this at the beginning, or were you pretty much open to like, I'm gonna get crushed?
For Taekwondo and Wing Chun, I didn't have that feeling
Okay.
at all, I would say.
Okay.
Um, uh, and that's because I think the striking martial arts are just so different
Right.
than grappling that I didn't have any expectations
Okay.
of my skills carrying over.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Sure. But it was, I mean, there were have you always been like have you always been mostly a morning class guy with all the black belts and whatnot? So like when you were early white belt, were you still like primarily in a class with higher belts?
Uh, so so I started the morning classes with Jiu-Jitsu,
Uh-huh.
because that was the only martial art that
At
did
that
offer
time.
morning
Yeah,
classes. Yeah.
okay, sure.
But it's funny because when I first started Jiu-Jitsu, the morning class was for white belts.
Oh, it was?
At my not at one at the other school.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
school was that? Here in Orange County?
At Chino Hills.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. We
Yeah.
briefly talked about that. The
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
sector something, right?
Sector. Yeah, that's
I
right.
see. Okay, so that's when. So yeah, we did. I didn't even get to ask you that. When exactly did you start at One Jiu-Jitsu, or roughly?
I would say April of last year, I think.
Oh, was it
Around
April of
then.
last year?
April or May. Yeah, that's when we moved here to Tustin.
I see. Oh, so it's just been a year for you. About a year at One Jiu-Jitsu
Yeah,
so
at
far.
one. Yeah, that's right.
I see. Okay. All right. Oh, cool, cool. Well, should we move into the lightning round?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Oh yeah. Here we go.
So do I have the answer quickly and briefly? Is that what the lightning round is?
Sort of. I mean, the idea is get an answer, but feel free to you can chat about it for a bit or expand it all you
Hmm.
want. It doesn't have to be so strict.
Yeah.
All right. Do you yet have a favorite submission?
I've I've had great success with the triangle recently.
Have you really? That's awesome, man. I
Yeah.
feel like that's one of the
Yeah.
most awesome submissions. I have not had success with the triangle yet. So recently, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, okay, judo favorite throw.
Um,
I won't know it by name, by the way, so you have to describe it.
uh, Ideally, I would want to work towards foot sweeps because to me it's so elegant. A very minimal movement with your feet and your
Okay.
hands, and the other guy goes flying
Okay.
or dropping.
Okay.
But what I've again recently started having success with, it's called the Tai Otoshi,
Okay.
body drop Tai Otoshi, and it's where we start facing each other, and then I pull you, and then I turn,
Okay.
and I spread my so if I'm right-handed, I turn counterclockwise. My left foot goes right outside your left foot. My left leg is bent. My right leg goes straight across your 2 feet,
Uh-huh.
and then I turn my body and down you go.
I see. I can
And
kind of
so,
picture it.
mhm,
Kind of. Okay. Okay. You're
yeah.
you're
So
tripping me
so
with your right leg though. The right leg is the one that's
uh,
tripping me.
kind of. So this is why this move I really like because I think it's also quite technical where there's no shoulder contact.
Right.
So it's not like that throw you all saw me do that one time.
Oh, we all saw it.
So
Yes. I remember
so
that
so
one. Just for our listeners who don't know, it was King of the Hill takedown, and everybody's head turned when somebody's body slapped the floor, and it was Jason had done the what's it called? It was the over the foot, the one you see in movies like Steven Seagal
yeah,
doing or whatever, where it's like over the shoulder and the person's airborne and gets flipped over and lands on their back. What is that called?
that's ippon seonage, one arm shoulder throw.
Okay. Jeez. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was freaking awesome. But where were you going with that?
So the Tayatoshi, the body drop, there's no shoulder contact like that shoulder throw.
Okay.
There's no hip contact
Okay.
which a lot of jiu-jitsu schools teach basic hip tosses.
Yeah.
So there's no hip contact,
Okay.
and there there does not necessarily need to be foot contact either.
Okay.
So the what makes this a body drop is that if done correctly, it is pure momentum and angle that makes you go over me without any contact with my body except for where I'm gripping you.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I see why you would want to learn one like that. That sounds awesome. So we're not touching, like my legs aren't touching yours, my shoulder's not touching yours, just the grip ideally, right?
Yeah, so practically, I do trip you
Okay.
in terms of just making it work,
Okay.
but ideally, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. More satisfying, a throw or a submission? You couldn't prepare for these ones.
No, 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 no. Right now, a throw is more satisfying for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see. Oh, would you rather get thrown or get submitted?
I really get thrown.
Okay. All right, last one. This is getting kind of silly. More useful in a zombie apocalypse, judo or jujitsu?
Huh. Well, if there are multiple zombies, then judo.
Uh-huh.
If there is one big strong zombie, then jiu-jitsu.
Good answer. Good answer, man. Well, anything else? Do you have anything to plug, Jason? Any any social media or anything you wanted to plug while you're here?
Um, I would say if you find yourself in Chino Hills, Sector Jiu-Jitsu,
Okay.
Murillo Judo. If you're in OC, if you want to do judo, OC Judo Training Center.
Okay.
And Professor Jiva knows the sensei there.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go out, you go over there, you say, "Hey, I'm a student at One Jiu-Jitsu." The sensei will, "Oh, you know Jiva, good, 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 we know each other," so
Okay.
on and so forth.
Okay.
So I'll plug the judo and the jiu-jitsu. Um, my dog has an Instagram.
Your dog. I didn't see that coming. What is the
Um,
Instagram handle of your dog?
it's Cleo Clementine.
It's Cleo Clementine. Okay, that's
Yeah,
your golden
yeah,
retriever that
golden
you showed
retriever.
earlier. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Did your hedgehog ever have a yeah, for those listeners who don't know, Jason had a hedgehog for a pet. Did your hedgehog ever have a Instagram?
Yes,
Oh, is it still active?
I believe so. I forget. I think it's we called him. His name was Drogo after that Game of Thrones character,
Okay.
Drogo. It's been a while. If you search up Drogo, you'll probably find it. See
Drogo.
the
I watched
little
Game of Thrones. I
yeah
don't remember Drogo.
yeah. Drogo's the big guy who was Khaleesi's husband, the Dothraki
Oh, the first, like when
chieftain.
she
Yeah
married him.
yeah
Oh,
yeah
oh, Jason Momoa,
yeah
right? Wasn't that Jason
yeah.
Momoa?
Just there we go. There we go. That's
Okay,
right.
that
That's right.
actor. Right, right, right. Oh,
Uh-huh.
Drogo. Okay.
But for our listeners who I'm guessing are mainly in California, hedgehogs are illegal in California. So my hedgehog was in Canada. It was a Canadian
Just
hedgehog.
to clarify,
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah,
break the
just to
law.
clarify.
Okay, okay, sounds good. Well, it's been great, Jason. I do have to say you are an absolute great training partner. I really appreciate all of our roles. I feel like I learn a lot every time I roll with you, and every time we drill together, it's an absolute pleasure. So, and this has been a pleasure too, my friend. So, thanks again for agreeing to do this. It's been awesome, and I will see you on the mat.
Right back at you, Connor. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Professor of Math.